Two, three. Welcome to the latest edition of the Sevillistas Worldwide podcast. I'm Chris Lell in Manassas, Virginia, outside of D.C., and I got on with me Eddie up in Toronto, Canada. How are you, Eddie?
What's up? I'm doing good. Looking forward to another season with Sevilla FC, the love of my life. Every year more optimistic, so it's never doom and gloom unless it's Lopetegui season 4, but we're here, man.
That's awesome. 24-25 La Liga seasons in the balance here, ready to get it on. I also got with us Steve up in Minnesota. How are you, Steve?
Doing well. Ready for kickoff tomorrow night.
Yeah, man. Get that classic Minnesota look going on with the beard and the trucker hat. I like it. Looks awesome. Looks really cool.
Getting all dressed up for you guys.
There you go. All right, cool. Yeah, so we're going to talk, about Sevilla FC and all the off-season additions, subtractions, and kind of what to expect coming up for the La Liga season for this club. And then later on, we've got an interview with Matt Raynes. He's from the Las Palmas UK edition, some English-speaking supporters group guys there at that club. So we talk a little bit about the new manager, kind of a preview of what to expect from Las Palmas, and then a little bit about how he fell in love with such a small club. And it's a really interesting story. So make sure you tune that in, and we'll get right into it. So we talked back in June, I guess it was, and at that time we announced that Sevilla did get a new manager, hired a new manager. Garcia Pimienta was brought in. That was really loud in my ear. I got a notification of some sort. But moving right along, signed until June 26th. June 2026. That's what I meant to say. And of course, we know how that might go with our recent run of formal managers. Let's hope he makes it to the end. Quick rundown: it was in the Barcelona youth system as a manager for 17 years. He signed to Las Palmas in January 2022, and he led them to the playoffs in that first year. Lost to their fierce rival Tenerife in the playoffs. Following season, achieved promotion by finishing second, and then last season with Las Palmas in their his first La Liga experience, Primera Division. He started off really slow. They gained some steam midway, but then at the end they didn't get a win in 14 straight matches. So a little bit concerning that's who we've got coming in, but who knows? As we talked on the last podcast, Las Palmas is not Sevilla, and he'll have a little bit more to work with here at this club. Speaking of that, lots of changes since we talked last. Lots of changes. Club looks really, really different than when we last spoke. I guess the biggest news, guys, is Yusuf Enesri moving to Ferbeliace. I hope I can screw that up. I cannot say that to save my life. 19 point. Why didn't I just say Turkey? God, that's even wrong because they changed the name. That's even wrong.
Fenerbahce? Is that the word you're looking for?
Fenerbahce. Maybe that's what I meant to say. Jesus Christ. Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. I'm terrible. 19.5 million euros we got for that transfer, and I think there was maybe some add-ons on that as well. But Eddie, good move for him. What do you think?
Yeah, good move for both parties. We knew was a transfer to expect, and probably one of the only transfers we could get, some funds with. So kudos to him, because I know he wanted to stay here. I think he really loves the club. So if he had an opportunity to stay, I think he would. And this city kind of proves me wrong every year, because I feel like he's just a streaky goal scorer, or the chances he gets are kind of fortunate, but he delivers. He had always delivered, and I'm forever thankful to have had a striker like that on our team. All the best to him. I know, unfortunately, they didn't make it through on the Champions League qualifying, but I have faith that he'll have a pretty successful career in Turkey. But yeah, all the best to Youssef.
Yeah, I mean, he goes down as one of our all-time strikers. I mean, what is he? Top 10 in goals scored. I can't remember exactly what place he finishes, but it's way up there. And always had a bad rap of just maybe not scoring all the time. But you have to apologize for my dog if you guys see him in the background. He had a little surgery yesterday with his little cone of shame there. So wish Mezzi a happy first birthday, and hopefully he gets better soon. So anyway, back to Yusuf Nesri there. He always got a bad rap, but always, like you said, he would deliver. And I grew really fond of him and loved him as a player. And I think we're going to miss his goal scoring presence, which is kind of weird to say, but it is what it is. Steve, what do you think about Yusuf leaving us?
I don't know. I knew that he was going to leave. It was just a matter of time. We've been having this conversation, or been preparing to have this conversation for the last 2 or 3 years, right? Where he's been given an opportunity and he's turned it down. I'm a little shocked to see him go to Turkey. I thought that he would be moving to the Premier League, but I guess when the price is right, and I mean they've got at the time they had a chance to play in Champions League, and the shiny new coach there as well. So I don't know. Like I don't know what to really think of it. I would have liked to have gotten more for him rather. But I guess can't really be begging for more when you're in a situation like we are. We had to balance the books, and that $19.5 million or million euros really goes a long way to do that. Especially when you look at, who we're going to talk about next, of the incoming transfers. We only paid for 2 of them, right? Everything else was either a free transfer or a loan deal. So at the end of the day, I think it's good business, but it'll be interesting to see how we fill his shoes, and we can kind of pick up that slack.
Yeah, best of luck to him in Turkey, and he's joining former La Liga manager there in Mourinho. So let's see what he can get out of the player. I hope all the best for him. And it is a shame that we didn't get more money, just because how many goals he did score. It seems like a really good deal for them, but it is what it is. We move on. Had a lot more folks leave the club too. We'll go down that list real quick, and then we'll talk about the fun stuff and who's coming in. Most of the list is people that we kind of knew were leaving. They were on expiring contracts, like Oliver Torres, Eric Lamela, Sergio Ramos. All those guys were expiring contracts and left the club. And then we were able to get rid of some folks' contracts, either by canceling it in the case of Mariano Diaz. We also worked out some deals where, like, Oscar Rodriguez and Dimitrovic went to Leganés for free. Same with Thomas Delaney, who went to Copenhagen for free. And then we got the case of Rafa Mir there, right? Like he finally got his move to Valencia. Ryan Moore there on Monty's men is probably a little disappointed that he's not on the club. I don't know if he's going to be his new punching bag, but it's only a long deal, but they do have an option to purchase. I'm not sure if we made any money on that long deal or if we're just saving money. I don't know. I think they're eating most of his salary, if not all of his salary. You guys remember any of the details on that one?
I don't recall.
Yeah.
No.
Just have you heard that it's like a $5 million signing option at the end of the season. I'm pretty confident that he'll get signed. I mean, he's already kissing the badge, right? So, like, come on, man. I mean, all the best to him. We're not always privy to what happens behind the scenes. So hopefully he gets to prove himself. He's a talented player, talented striker with some good ability to score. Just not too much for Valencia, and don't score against us. That's all I ask. But all the best to Rafa.
Do you think he celebrates if he scores against us? I bet he does.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. 50-50 on that.
Yeah, we'll see. We
He got
also
to score
moved.
against us first, so
Well, that's true. More of a chance of hitting somebody in the 10th row than scoring.
if we were all that worried about him, I think he'd probably still be in our squad, right? Like,
other guy that moved on, Ludwig Augustinsson. I can never say that guy's name, and that's why I just call him Ludwig. He moved to Anderlecht for free. There's some bonuses possible there, so we actually might make some money off of that deal. And he got along really well there last year, played in a ton of matches for them, so I'm glad to see him getting some playing time. Seemed like a nice guy. Gattani, I think Gattani was their first transfer. He got loaned to River Plate, and that was well, actually, he's on it. Well, he got transferred, didn't he? Or was it a loan? No, it's a loan. It was a loan. Yeah, it's a loan with an option, I believe. But they're already like wanting to move on because they already changed managers, and there was rumors that they were ready to give up on him already. So I doubt they canceled the loan, but they might try to move him on to another club. I think we've hit everybody except for Januzaj. Januzaj went over to Las Palmas, who we got coming up. Unfortunately, he suffered an injury, and he's going to be out for like 6 to 8 weeks or something. So we will not see him this round. But Matt, the guy we're going to talk to a little bit later, he was really excited about that signing. He thought it was somebody that could actually help their club. So is a little disappointed in the injury, and anyway, we'll see. The only other one that we got money for, actually hard cash, was Lucimi Cruz going to Tenerife. They got a whole 300,000 euros for him. So that's it. That's the departures. A lot of people. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people out of the club, which means there's a lot of people to bring in. When we still have people that we want to move on, right? Jordan comes to mind. Mariano comes to mind.
Marcal.
Marcal. What did I say?
he's already gone. Mariano's already gone.
Mariano's gone. Yeah. We wanted him going so much, I wanted to say it twice. Marcal. Yeah, Marcal is the other one. And then also Montiel and possibly Acuna as well. I think the club would be okay keeping Acuna, but if they could get money, they would definitely take it, I'm sure. So still a lot of action. We got about, what's that, 13 days or so left in the, or maybe 14. I can't remember when they actually extended it, but So about 14 days left in the window to make some moves. 2 weeks, a lot of stuff to go. A lot of room to improve this roster. Arrivals, we'll talk about that real quick. We got Peque Fernandez. He's kind of a second striker. Might be playing like a attacking midfielder for us from Racing Santander. We actually paid $4 million for him. Young guy, looks like a good prospect. Scored a wonderful goal against Liverpool, I think it was, right? That's the one he scored. Looked really good. And then the other guy that you guys were talking about, we paid money for was we brought back Agume from that was with us last year from Inter Milan, paying $4 million as well for him. That could change to a little bit more depending on some options, and then they've got like a 50% resale on that as well. So players we also brought in, but on a free, Ajuke, the left winger from Moscow. Maybe my most exciting player that I've seen so far. He's gotten a lot of look in the preseason. Looks pretty good. And then Saul from Atletico Madrid comes in and really looks like he's going to help solidify that midfield position. Yeah, he came in on a free. And then we got Iheanacho. Is that how you say his name? Is that right? Iheanacho? Hey, I got one right. Woo. From Leicester in the EPL for free. And then the last one was Lokanga from Arsenal. He came in. He's on a long deal, right? With an option to purchase. Unfortunately, he picked up an injury pretty early, but that's it. That's transfer window at the moment. Lot to digest there. Steve, Eddie, go ahead.
And the goalkeeper, just as of
Oh, that's right. I haven't added him. Yeah, the keeper we just brought in for free. Alvaro Fernandez. He played in the second division last year. I talked to Jim actually, from Munchie's Man, and Jim was actually really excited about that signing. He's a keeper that he's had his eye on for a while. He said, numbers don't look great, but numbers are numbers. There might be something there.
Relatively young too, especially for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. He's played in La Liga before. He played, I think, with Getafe and Espanyol. If I got those two right. Played a lot with one of them. I can't remember which one it was that he played a lot for. Maybe Getafe. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Just on the signings. You can talk to Partridge too if you want. I'm going to shut up a bit and let you guys have some nice conversation around the arrivals.
I think most notably is the departures. Honestly, the arrivals are interesting in their own way, just because there's just a lot of names that we don't recognize. It's people that we may not have necessarily had our eyes on this time last year or the year before, just with the change in sporting director and the scouting. But Chris, when you went through that list of everybody that was departing, there were so many contracts on there that we have been asking to get rid of for 2 or 3 years at this point. And this was the first season I think that I can remember where I was more excited about seeing the contracts leaving and players going away than I was to see the new players coming in, just because we have been asking to inject some youth into the squad for so long, and we finally got some traction in there. So I think honestly that's my biggest takeaway from this entire summer is how willing this sporting director and scouting department is to cut bait and get started with a new squad it's all theirs. So I think that's the most intriguing part of this upcoming season, and especially the game tomorrow is seeing how all the young players play well together. Because there's a lot of youth, there's a lot of new players on this team, potential for quite a few of our youth products to break in as well. So we'll see what happens there. What do you think, Eddie?
Yeah, I mostly like that we got younger. But as you mentioned, yeah, addition by subtraction, because it's like every transfer window, it was an issue of we have too many players on the squad, too many expense. The wage bill is an issue as well. Like we have the required amount of players right now, but we can't sign. We can't even register some of them because of the wage bill. But yeah, we mostly got younger. I like that we're relying on some of the youth team players. I'm always interested in Idumbo to see what he could do. Much better than any showings he's had previously. I mean, more so this time around because he's heavily featured in preseason. Could be a nice backup option at left wing if ever we needed, coverage there for injuries or whatnot. But I'm not too pressed about him, playing with the first team this year. I think we're pretty much got enough players in forward positions. But yeah, I think Saul's the one that intrigues me a lot because it's not the kind of player I thought would have been available even for us. You think Atletico Madrid, and like those are contracts we can't even come close to. It's usually transfers the other way around, right? Like an Campos or an Acuna going to Atletico, but us getting a player like Saul, especially as it's he's I don't know, he's kind of a unique midfielder that you don't normally see with among Spanish players, I want to say. And I feel like he has a lot more to offer than he was able to showcase at Atletico just because of how the style of play that they were playing. He always seemed like that kind of player that, had more to offer, and he was just kind of restricted because of Simeone's style. So I think this is kind of a challenge for himself that he was probably optimistic about the kind of project we're having here with the coach like Pimienta and the kind of football he wants to play. So I'm looking forward to Saul. He's the player that played the most minutes in preseason. Unfortunately, he has to serve a suspension dating from the end of last campaign. We'll see if it gets overturned, but and also Luca Bacchio, I feel like we didn't get to see too much of him last year because of the injury, and then he had a spell where he just wasn't playing well at all. So we might see a different version of him, maybe one that plays more on the right side, which helps his 1v1. But I'm happy about mostly the front six. I mean, the back four, it's whoever is available, whoever Pimienta likes on the day. But yeah, we'll see. It's a work in progress, even with how Pimienta wants to play. I think it's not. We're not going to gel right away. We still need that time. A lot of these other teams have that chemistry already. We're still trying to create ours. So it's baby steps from here, and I really have no clue how he's going to line up tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't think anybody really knows, and even the midfield, like I'm assuming Agume's kind of the central, like the defensive mid, but he even likes getting forward as well. So I'm interested to see kind of who's playing back, if anybody, or if we're just pushing forward all the time, kind of like the Busquets of old would do, if he kind of plays that role. Something that's struck me in the preseason was a player that hasn't gotten any mention yet, but has looked pretty good in the preseason, I thought, and it seems like him and Sao has a kind of a partnership kind of developing there a little bit. It seems like anytime they were on the pitch together, they seemed to work really well, especially with some short 1-2 passing and that sort of thing. So something to kind of look out there. A player that I know that you were high on last year early on, and then kind of fell from the wayside and didn't show, and actually lost some minutes down the stretch to some other players, mainly Agume. And so it's cool to see that. And then how does Lokonga fit in when he comes back off of his injury? Where does he play? So just a really amazing transformation of all the midfield players there. And the youth, as you mentioned, we've got Manu Bueno there that's played a lot of minutes in the preseason and seems to have the trust of Pimienta so far. And does he make some appearances? Remains to be seen. I also like the Luca Bacchio and Ujuke combo, because they played together in the past, right?
In Germany, I think Hoffenheim or German football is not my forte, but I think they're at Hoffenheim together. Some team in blue, but
yeah, pretty sure that's what it was. But they have some experience playing together, so that's always, fun to look at and see how that's going to work out. So yeah, everybody was mentioning youth. The only player we didn't sign anybody that's over 30, which is always a good sign. Saul was the oldest that we signed at 29, and like you said, a player that I don't think anybody thought that rumor was real when we first heard it, because we didn't think we could afford a player like that. But it seems he took possibly a salary cut to come, and I think Atletico is eating some of that salary on the loan as well. So it works out. We've got an option to make that permanent next year. And let's see if that happens. I'm excited about everybody we brought in. I'm a little confused on who plays where. I'm really concerned about the defense and who's going to play alongside Bade if Bade sticks around. There's rumors that he's maybe not being shopped, but they're getting offers. He had a really good showing at the Olympics, leading that club to a silver medal, and I think that only increases interest. So does he get moved? That makes it even more question mark in that back line if he moves. But Nianzu's got a lot of playing time in the preseason, as well as Kiki Salas at the very beginning. We know Eddie loves some Kiki Salas. But we've got a lot of fullbacks still on this roster, and I don't know how that all is going to work out, because we've got Montiel. Navas is now back from international duty. We got Wanlu back from his gold medal performance. And Montiel,
he played really well too.
Yeah, Wanlu played really well. Scored a goal there in the semifinal, right? Wasn't it semis?
Yeah,
he scored the goal.
Yeah,
he was
good
instrumental
goal
off the bench for that Spanish squad that took gold in the Olympics.
Yeah, and then Jose Angel Carmona is also. I don't think I said his name. I might have, but he's there as well. So fullback stacked. Well, maybe not as much on the left side, but I expect some of those players to get moved prior to the end of transfer window, either to loans or sales, and hopefully we can get somebody out so we can bring in another defender, because I think that's our biggest hole at the moment that we've got to figure out what to do there. Iheanacho, what do you expect from him, Eddie? Have you seen him play, or Steve, either one of you guys? Have you seen him play before? Do you know anything about him?
Only sparingly when he was at Leicester. Obviously, he was shadowing Jamie Vardy, so that's as good as any competition as you can get there. But I guess it's one of those players. I don't want to compare it to like Alvaro Morata, like maybe not the kind of player that scored that many goals in a season, but it's someone that could contribute to the attack in terms of how he plays the center forward position. So just from how very briefly we saw him in preseason, very associative and brings players in together, and kind of helps the play evolve and helps the team get forward into the final third. In terms of finishing, he's very capable, but it just we'll see. We'll see as the chances fall to him, whether he gets a starting spot or Isaac does. But I'm fairly confident with the strikers that we got.
Yeah, that's somebody else we haven't mentioned yet. This whole episode is Isak, back from injury. We missed a lot of action from him at the end of the season last year. So he's back fully healthy, scoring some goals there in the preseason. So hopefully he's got some confidence back, and we can bang some in. Any of those guys you want to dive in more on, the new guys?
I think Pique is still kind of a mystery, especially because he's a support striker. He has been playing as a lone striker whenever he's come on, but he could play in a more withdrawn role. So it'll be interesting if Pimenta kind of doesn't always stick to the 4-3-3 and wants to play with two up top or with someone in the hole like Pique, or there's not really anybody else that could play in that in that role apart from Suso whenever he's healthy. So we'll see. It depends on Pimenta. I'm not sure how he's gonna have this team playing. If he's gonna take any risks with that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. He kind of is like a player out of position with the system, which makes the signing that much more intriguing because the manager was here already. So I'm excited about him. He looked that goal the other day was really gorgeous, and he's also made some really nice runs and carried the ball really well from what I saw in his limited action there in the preseason. So hopefully that equates to La Liga action, and he can help us team score some goals because we need to do that this year. So we got the game coming up tomorrow. We're recording this about 7 p.m. East Coast time tonight. So when you guys hear this tomorrow morning, it'll be game day, and it's a new season, a new dawn, a new era. Really, I think this is kind of Horta's first, seems like this is his first real season with the club. The first time he's had a whole off season to prepare. Was able to bring in some players that I think he feels good about, and it's kind of that test. It's put up or shut up time, I think, for this club. There's no more excuses. We've made the changes that need to be made, and except for maybe defense, central defenders, but that's coming, I'm sure. So it's time to see what happens. So, Eddie, what do you expect from this club this year? Where are we going to finish?
Where are we going to finish? Top 7, top 10 to be safe. I want top 4 all the time, but it's going to depend on how we start the season and if there's something good that's that's cooking in the kitchen. But if thinking about it realistically, I think we could only hope for a top 6 at best. Just because of how we ended last season, and we're still dealing with certain issues. And it's practically a brand new team. So we'll see on that front. We have some talent, but it's the competition that's still, I feel, better than us. Athletic Club, Real Sociedad, the big 3, of course. The Girona, I'm not sure how they're gonna fare this season. There's who else? Mallorca as well. That's kind of tricky. I know they didn't finish in the European positions per se, but that's always an improving team with a good manager. I don't think I miss anybody else, but I think Sevilla still has a challenge there in terms of finishing in European spots. So we could hope for top 6, but we're not really favorites for those positions.
Yeah, Steve, what do you think?
Ask me again in January. I don't know. Right now, I just am completely detached from that. I'm just so excited about football being back that, like, if you were honest to God, you asked me, I don't really care how we finish. Like, I'm just so excited that it's actually back. Once we get a couple months under our belts and we get through those first couple of international breaks, and then reality starts setting in, like then it's like okay, like the new car smell has worn off. It's no longer all shiny and new, and now I have to come back down to reality. But right now, it's football, baby. Like it's back. Like it doesn't matter how we do. We're gonna watch this team week in, week out. We're gonna get on this podcast and we're gonna talk to each other about it. Hopefully more often than not. And it's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be fun, and that is what I'm most excited about at this point. It's just the excitement of the unknown.
Yeah, I think that's it's definitely a relief this year, right? I mean, it seems like a new day, a new dawn, and
yeah, like last year we had so much pressure on us coming into the season because we had just won Europa League. We kind of like, backed our way into a trophy, and like, oh shoot, now we have expectations on us. And now, like, this is the first time since Lopetegui that we have basically zero expectations from like outside of our club on this. Like, nobody expects us to do anything this year. No. So anything that we do is just going to shock the world. So let's go out and shock the world.
Yeah, no European competitions to drag us down. There's no excuses either. So it's time to put up or shut up. Let's do it. I'm excited. I can't wait to the game tomorrow. We've got some Spaniards in town that we're going to be watching with here in Virginia. So hope everybody gets a chance to watch it and enjoy the match. Speaking of that, let's bring in Matt Raynes here and chat about it, about La Palma. To chat about Las Palmas and what changes they made in the offseason. And then we'll come right back and wrap this podcast up. So let's talk to Matt Raynes here real quick. Hey, everybody, got Matt Raynes from the UK today over at Derby, right? Isn't that where you are?
Yeah, in Derby, in the middle of the country.
Nice. Matt's a Las Palmas fan. Maybe the only one that speaks English that I know. Actually, there's a couple more, I think, on Twitter, but not many. It's a rare bird, kind of like a Sevillista here in the U.S. Not too many of us, but welcome to Sevillistas Worldwide. Thanks for joining us today to talk about Las Palmas and our off-season here. I guess we are very synced with the offseason, with us stealing away your manager or former manager in Garcia Pimienta. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the season coming up. Of course, we play Las Palmas tomorrow. First game of the 24-25 La Liga season. And we'll talk a little bit about that, and then Las Palmas and what they did in the offseason and what the expectations are for this season. So we'll get right into it. Sevilla's got a new coach. It's the Las Palmas manager, or former Las Palmas manager, Garcia Pimienta. He managed Las Palmas for 105 matches, taking over in January 2022, I think, is when he first became manager from Barcelona B, I think, right? That's where he was before. And after a slow start, you guys actually finished second, I believe, in the second division of La Liga that season, and then got promoted for last season. Is that? I got that right, I believe, right?
No, we ended up, I think, when he took over, we were in the playoffs. Got absolutely mullered by our rivals, Tenerife. We snuck into the playoffs at the last minute. In his first full season in charge, we got promoted. Yeah, in second.
Okay.
And then obviously we've had the season in La Liga. So yeah, that brought us 2.5 years to a close.
Gotcha. Okay. I must have misread that. I thought I had it right, but Oh well, that's why we got the experts on here. Uh, so, what can you tell us about this guy? I mean, um, you had a couple seasons there with him. What do you think of his manager style? What can we expect, like formation wise? How he plays, attack, defense, all that good stuff. What can you think, or what can you say?
Yeah, so he came from the Barcelona B side of things. He'd never had a job in what would be a professional level in Spain, so professional level being Segunda or La Liga. A lot of people associate Barcelona tiki-taka style football, which kind of mirrors the Canarian way in a fashion. In the Canaries, they refer to it as football del calle, football of the streets. Quite a lot of quick one-touch, tight spaces, that sort of thing. Some might even go as far as saying tiki-taka was invented in Las Palmas, not in Barcelona. So I think he kind of fit the mold with what the club ideology is in terms of playing football. Got us into the playoffs in his sort of half season that he was with us. First full season, we get promoted in second position. We have a slow start last season, getting a bit worried. And then, we ended up playing pretty much better football and better as a team when, unfortunately, the superstar of the team, Jonathan Vieira, was starting to be left out. In terms of his style, man management, I'm not sure of, because there's a couple of players who have basically said, I was ready, I could play. Manager didn't count on me. Manager didn't speak to me all season. We signed Aaron Nescande from Cartagena, goalkeeper. He basically said he played, one and a bit games due to a suspension and a sending off, I think it was, from our first choice keeper. Says that he barely spoke to him. Eric Corbello, who's gone to Sporting Gijon in the Segunda after his contract expired. He said the manager didn't speak to him all season. Jonathan Vieira, club superstar, 3 or 4 stints with the club. Had a bit of personal sort of news that needed dealing with in relation to his wife. Asked for a bit of time off. He basically said, no. He didn't want to grant him any time off. So, and then basically said, you're not going to be a starter in every game and things like that. So I think man management wise, I'm not sure. I don't know how he'd fit in with personalities. But all of this has sort of come out, since he's left the club. In terms of playing style, pretty slow, patient build-up, possession-based football. Can look good on the TV. Sometimes watching it live in the stadium, it's so frustrating. You can see better passes on as fans. You can see the need for a little bit more urgency. There's yes, obviously, if you've got the ball, the opposition can't score. We won a lot of games by the single goal, or if we did concede, we conceded late on in games. We were really well concentrated, but I think management-wise, man manager side of things, not 100% convinced. Football, it should do well at Sevilla. Can't see why it wouldn't do well. Maybe a step up in terms of club stature. If we look at things like history, with all the Europa success that Sevilla have had, time in La Liga, names, players, logical step up for me, really.
Yeah, okay. That's a little concerning with the management stuff. We've had our own issues with managers in the past that wasn't the best at that, but hopefully that can. Well, I don't know. We've got our own issues at the moment with players and that sort of thing. So I'm sure there's a lot of that going on behind the scenes as well. But so you brought up kind of the playing style there of being slow build up, and it's kind of reflected in the amount of goals that you guys scored last year. I think it was 33 goals total, which tied for third worst in La Liga. Do you think that's due to the playing style, or is it more just having Sandro as a striker or some
Yeah,
other issues.
it's a mix. It's a mix. You've got a bloke, sorry, Cabba, who we signed on a 3.5 or 4 year deal in the summer. Played well in the Championship at Cardiff City. Comes to Las Palmas, couldn't hit a barn door. He's recently uploaded some videos on Twitter of him in training. He looks really sharp, but why didn't we see any of that? Yeah, you've got a big bloke in Cabba. The ball doesn't go in the box. The ball's played around the box. Sandro was kind of used as a sort of left winger at times.
Yeah.
Munir was used on the right. We didn't get the balls in. We've got Mark Cardona up front as well. I just don't think we had a goal scorer. Sandro had that one cracking season at Malaga, didn't he? And then he's not really done anything since.
No.
Munir's never been a massive goal scorer. Yeah. So I think, we've made a couple of signings this year. One that will stand out to Brits or anybody who follows the Premier League as well. Ollie McBurney from Sheffield United after his contract ran out. So, new manager we've got in, new style maybe. I can't see us being the same team or in the same sort of style as we did last year, to be honest.
Yeah. So speaking of that, what do you know about the new man in charge, Luis Carrion, no?
Yeah, Luis Carrion. I think he would have stayed at Oviedo had Oviedo gone up in the playoffs. I think that was basically what was happening. I think there was either Carrion or Ruben Alves, who I think has gone to Sporting Gijón, who was at Albacete. I think they were the two names really that were touted about. But he was only there for the season at Oviedo, so again he's never managed in La Liga. Having a quick look online now, he's managed. Looks like he started off in Cordoba, Melilla, Numancia, Cartagena, Oviedo, and then obviously at Las Palmas. But he averages more than a point per match, which is if you get 46 points a season, you're probably going to stay up.
Yeah, that's interesting. I looked a little bit about the transfer window too, and I was actually kind of surprised at some of the guys that you're able to hang on to. Your starting keeper, and then Carrion as well. Like that one really surprised me. I know Sevilla was actually linked with him early on, but I mean we have no money to pay anyone, so I didn't think that was going to happen.
If anything, Carrion might have followed Pimienta. Our first choice keeper last season, Raynes, from Seville originally, but he's from the green and white side of Seville. He's holding out for a move. He won't play. The president basically said, you will sign a contract renewal, you will be sold for a price that we say is acceptable, or it's your last year of your contract, you'll sit in the stands as a fan. The president has been really on it. We've basically said, we've lost too many players in the past for free. So Coco was in the same position. He got given the same three choices, and he's gone to Torino. I think we're going to get paid 7 million in 4 years for that one. But yeah, Valles won't be playing.
Okay. Yeah, that was interesting. I saw I know he was linked with some folks early on a move.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard anything else.
Marseille offered something like 12 million euros. I think we want 10. Marseille offered a bit more, and Valles basically said, "No, I want to go to Betis." Because he's from their academy originally.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, they don't have any money to spend either, and they kind of have a starter. So,
and they just brought in the guy from Liverpool, didn't they, Antonio Adan? So
yes,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, keeping Carrion was good.
Yeah,
Sergio Cardona, his agent said he wasn't going to sign renewal, so he's gone to Villarreal. And then there's a lot of players that have just sort of left, loan signings and 1 year deals that have gone.
Yeah. What First of all, thanks for taking Jenny's eye off of our hands there. I know he's got injured, but thanks for taking that problem for us, at least for a year.
So he scored. He's played well in the friendlies. He's played well. The injury isn't too bad. I think it's a 6 weeks thing. But that comes with not playing a lot. But no, I think that could be a good signing for us. Could be a good loan.
Yeah, I hope so. You always want to see those players, find it again. I don't know why it didn't work out in Sevilla. He didn't get a lot of opportunity, first of all, so I don't know if that was work ethic and training or players just not liking him if he didn't fit into the system. I'm not really sure. He was always kind of dynamic when he came on. Lost the ball at times, but that's a systematic part of not playing a lot, right? Like you want to come in and be impactful, so you're trying to show things that maybe you're not able to do with that, being out of form. But what about Campana? He's a Sevilla academy player, and how's he getting along? I didn't get to see a lot of him last year. I know he's coming back off another injury, so how's he working out for you guys?
I think it was a strange one. Because I think he would have still been training at Levante while he was recovering from the injury.
Yep.
It was announced as, signing with, I think it was in the January window or December as a free transfer, unattached player with the option of a further year. I don't know. I think, if you've not played in so long, it's going to take you a while to get back in. Have I seen an impact from him? Can I see him making an impact? I don't think I can. It's not in the same bracket in my eyes as Kieran in terms of, passing ability, keeping the game going, the eye for a pass, sort of like what they call the killer ball sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We've got him for another year, but I'm not sure. I don't think he'll stay beyond that, to be honest.
Okay.
Unless he really makes an impression.
Do you think he'll be in the starting lineup or just coming off the bench?
Just having a quick look really at the squad, and I'm kind of thinking, if we did play a midfield sort of three, sort of who would be there and where. So Ivan Hill, who we signed on a free from Andorra, he's played well. Kilian's the club captain. And then you'd be looking at, Javi Munoz, he's got some legs on him. He was a brilliant player last season, I thought. Enzo Loiodice, French guy. He's a player in my eyes. We've got Fabio, who, again, he's another one of the players who, was fit last season, but the manager barely spoke to him after getting injured in the last game of the season against Alaves. I don't know. He's probably like number 5 or 6 on my list of midfielders if I was to pick a starting 3. But then that's my opinion. Somebody else might see something different, and that's why we're all football fans. And if we all thought the same, the world would be boring.
That's true. It's another player that I always just root for, just especially with injuries and coming from the academy from Sevilla. I've kind of followed him, since he left, and great player at one time, and then just injuries just killed him. So hopefully he finds it again and can pick out some of those passes that you're talking about. So all this. I don't know about you, but with so many changes in Sevilla, I have no idea what to expect tomorrow, or for the season, for that matter. It's kind of a mystery to me with all the changes and the new manager, and we've got some staples, but we're losing so much. So I really don't know what to expect from the game tomorrow. What about you? What do you think?
I think I'm in the same boat. Both teams have got a new manager. I don't think we won a competitive fixture for something like 14 games at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And I know points were hard to come by for Sevilla, I think, early on in the season. Lots of, there's going to be a change in style, maybe, or at least the approach to the game by both sides. There's going to be new faces on both sides. We very rarely made substitutions before sort of 60, 70 minutes. Do you make them a bit earlier now? I just don't know what to do. I think it might just be a typical start of season, probably a draw at the end of it, that not both teams are going full pelt for it because they don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And most of our teams just coming back from international play too. Well, not most of them, but several of our starters or what should be a starter in my mind. So yeah, I'm with you. I have no idea. We took both games last year, I think. One of the rare times we've done that last year, but yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I'm sure it's going to be a fun watch just to see how the managers play or react to the game, how they kind of come out. We've had a struggle here with Sevilla being able to watch the preseason matches. The club did a really terrible job this year of having any kind of broadcast. So we've seen some things, but I mean, it's hard to tell in a preseason. There's so many, academy players that play, and it's just really hard to see kind of how that's going to work out. So,
of course, both of us played at Anfield last weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You guys played like right after our game.
Yeah, that was a bit of a. I can't think of the polite word, a bit of a cock up. We originally wanted to play Ipswich because they were the last team we played in Europe in the 70s as part of the club's 75th anniversary celebrations. Oh, cool. That didn't materialise. So the club said, okay, we want to play somebody else iconic. Liverpool said, we'll play you, but we'll play you at the training centre. And Las Palmas said, no, we want to play at Anfield. And Liverpool said, if you want to play at Anfield, you can play the academy.
Oh,
and we ended up, but it was still quite a strong Liverpool lineup, to be fair. But yeah, of course, you guys were allowed fans in, we weren't.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Such poor organisation as well from like a professional sports club.
Yeah. On Liverpool's part or Las Palmas' part?
No. On our part.
On your part.
You've got teams announcing things 2 weeks beforehand for, the dates that are, on the go. And when everyone said, there were rumours of Liverpool and Arsenal that we were going to play. Well, Liverpool have already got Sevilla. They might have a gap midweek. How are we going to play Arsenal when they're playing Lyon? And yeah, it just stunk of rushed and hurried to me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Just kind of your relationship with the club, if you have one. I saw some photos that make me think that you do have a slight relationship with the club, and kind of what your thoughts are on how they approach English-based content, and if you get any kind of support from them to help grow that content.
Yeah, I'd say I've got a good relationship with the club. The main sort of credit isn't on me. The credit's on a chap called Dan who started a Facebook page sort of many moons ago. So there is a UK group on Facebook as well as the UK Twitter account. And I think we really got noticed when the club did a pre-season tour in England for 2018. So July 2018, we played St George's Park, the England national team training centre. Played Birmingham City behind closed doors, but we were invited to that. And then we were invited to Ellen Road as well. Basically tell us how many tickets you want and we'll sort them out for you to collect. Then we got sort of pitch side after the game and things like that. And I've got a lot of friends that are season ticket holders, journalists. I still speak to a couple of ex-players, sort of on a personal level as well as a club level. Sometimes I'll speak to one or two of the directors or the head of security if I need to get the flag into a stadium or something like that because of the fire regulations. In terms of assistance, we don't really get any. We stood on our own feet for so long. We asked about becoming a recognised pennier, but we have to hold elections and charge membership fees and things like that, and we're not that sort of group. We just basically wanted to provide information to people in English. That's what we wanted to do. But it says something about the club itself when the other language Twitter accounts aren't active when you're in the second division. So throughout all the time in Segunda, there's a UDLP_UK is me. UDLP_English is the club, but that doesn't do anything if the club are in the second division. But as soon as the club come up to La Liga, the Chinese account, the French account, the German account, the Arabic account, they all come back to life. It's a good relationship. It's not a relationship that I've asked for or I feel entitled to. There are some people that I think do find it unfair that I've been behind the scenes at the stadium on a normal day. I've been invited into the president's box for a game by the vice president. But I'm happy to accept those things, but they're never things that I've asked for, which is, it's not something that I feel like I've commanded at all. At the end of the day, I wanted to just further my interest in the language, and that's how I did it, following football. If I was a fan of politics, I'd be sat here talking to somebody about Spanish politics. But football's my interest, so football's where I make the progress.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm always curious to talk to other fans that are in similar boats to us, right? I mean, the podcast is Sevillistas Worldwide. Monty's Man is the supporters group that's similar to yours, English based, very similar, no membership fees. We've talked about Peñas, but it's kind of hard because we're global, right? Like we're not just US based, so it's a little hard to do a Peña for that. But it's always good to hear how other clubs. We had their social media, Sevilla social media guy on our forums recently, just asking how they can improve the content. And we get that question every other year or so, and they make some strides, but it's always kind of secondary, I believe, to their Spanish content, and understandably so.
Yeah.
But I think you wish La Liga and the clubs would take a bigger priority to provide content. Hopefully that happens. There's some ideas from the social media team at Sevilla to do that. So let's see if that actually works. But
I think it also depends. It depends, I think, on who you've got in your squad as well. We've just signed the two British lads, McKenna and McBurney. So yes, there is going to be, that they're going to be doing interviews where they're answering in English, there's Spanish subtitles. Some people may see that as disrespectful for not speaking English, not speaking Spanish. But the lads are going to have to learn, and I think we recently announced. So San Antonio, Texas, and Las Palmas are sort of sister cities. I think one of them founded another or something like that. I'm not sure of the history of it. So apparently the club are going to play a friendly in the US next year. So they got a local, a Canarian that did the Spanish speaking, and then they got Ollie McBurney to do the English part. Because it related to the US. The US is majority English speaking, I think. So yeah, they are going to. I think it depends who you've got in your squad and what you're trying to target or who you're trying to target.
Yeah, I agree. It's just such a big market.
Perfect example is Son at Tottenham. Look at how many, Koreans go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, how many, Son shirts are bought,
Yeah.
their effort with Korean social media, it's a massive effort, and kudos to Tottenham for jumping on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And hopefully with our folks that speak English on the team, I hope they do some unique content this year. We'll see. I'm kind of excited about their ideas, and hopefully that works out. So wrapping up a little bit, how in the world did you become a Las Palmas supporter?
It's really strange. This one. I hit a point in life where things weren't going too good, and I just wanted to get away. So I applied for a job that was a holiday rep. So applied for the job. Didn't have a passport at the time. Had to go and get the passport before I went down to the interview, and just basically, said I'm free to go. I'd got like a week's notice at my employers if I wanted to leave them to sort of go. Got the job, and they basically said, "Can you fly to Gran Canaria in 2 weeks?" So I was like, "Yeah, fine." Didn't know anything about the island. Never been there. I think I'd have been about 21, 22 when I did. And I worked in Gran Canaria for the majority of 2010, 2011, 2012, 2014. And then when I left in 2014, we got promoted in the 2015, so 14-15 season. So I paid more attention to that, watching streams online and things and watching the games. And, things had got better personally. And I just thought, I'm going abroad. I'm going to go and watch Las Palmas play Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Sod it. But it was only really then that, you start paying more attention, you start learning the language, you start reading the newspapers if you're going on holiday to Madrid to watch the football and things like that. And, I've done a fair few away games. I say I'm quite pally with journalists, some of the ex-players. I've got, signed shirts. I think there's a Pedri one in the wardrobe somewhere, a match-worn Pedri shirt.
Cool.
Kieran Rodriguez, Jonathan Vieira, club president signed shirt that I've had off him. And I think I'm known amongst the fan base, but then at the same time, I try and sort of keep away. If my wife comes with me now, she's like, can you not just like sit and have a drink in peace or something like that? But basically, just doing the social media and putting myself out there. I am an English guy who just basically fancied a change. Football in the UK is very overpriced. Why would I go down to London for a weekend when I can catch a £30 flight to Mallorca and go and see Las Palmas play away at Mallorca, for example? These are all things that I've done, and I'm quite grateful that I've been all over Europe, not just with Spanish grounds, not just with Las Palmas. And I'm still doing it. We played Inter Milan in a friendly in Cesena on the east coast of Italy nearly. And I was in Italy for less than 48 hours. I went to the game. I went to the game and bumped into a couple of Las Palmas fans and sort of mentioned that I'm English and, you must be Matt, I follow you on Twitter. Yeah. And I think sometimes as well, the locals like it because they're probably learning a bit of English at the same time as, because, I tend to just translate some of the stuff. And, there's a couple of really good Twitter accounts to follow. Pasión Amarilla, UD Las Palmas Net, El Nuevo Insular. And, you kind of stick to what you know. Canes is another one. Leandro, he's another good guy. And you just get pally, build your connections and respect people, be respected. It turned into that really, and then it's I've got stadium prints on the wall in my office here. I've got shirts in the wardrobe signed and stacked, and it's just nice, and it's nice to do something different, not just like that everybody else does. Probably like the same for you guys, where wherever you're based on the east, not following Philadelphia, for example. You know, you're following Sevilla instead. But yeah, it just turned into that, and I don't think I'm going to get out of it because I know we talk about not supporting two clubs and things like that. I'm a Derby County fan. Derby County is always going to come first. But at the same time, Las Palmas is a team I follow and a team I support.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar here. You know, DC United is my local club. Mr. Wayne Rooney, I think.
You had the joys of his management then.
But actually, Sevilla is my first club, and that's changed over the years a little bit. I mean, I've gotten more and more into Sevilla, so it's they're my first club, and everything else kind of comes second. They occupy my time, and I don't really have time for much more than that. With all the effort that we put into, you know, the podcast and then also the forum. So, well, Matt, anything you want to give a shout out to? Your Facebook page, Twitter, anything before I let you go?
We can do. So yeah, UDLP_UK on Twitter, or UD Las Palmas UK on Facebook. Facebook's run by a group of 4 lads based all around the UK. Twitter tends to just be myself. You know, follow me personally as well. The Twitter handle's in there. It's not Twitter anymore, is it? It's X. It's always going to be Twitter, isn't it? Let's face it. Always going to be Twitter.
Almost marketing decision over here.
Give us a follow, and let's see how the game goes, and good luck for the season, I guess.
Yeah, best of luck to you tomorrow and in the season. Hopefully no more injuries, and we make it through. Well, hopefully we're both up in La Liga next year, because I think we both might have some concerns, but
I think
hopefully we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope so. Same here. I hope we are too. But thanks for your time today. This was awesome. Hopefully we'll see you around again next time we chat, or next time we play, I guess. Thanks a lot, Matt. And,
no worries.
All right, we're back. Thanks, Matt, for stopping into the podcast. Make sure you hit him up on his socials there. Really good chat to find out more about why he fell in love with his club and the passion that he has there. It's a rarity that we find English-speaking Sevilla fans. I can only imagine it's even more rare to run into a Las Palmas English-speaking fan. So good on that guy, man. Not to pick one of the big clubs, and choose. Not only chose that club, went to the games, and then fell in love, and then made that his passion, kind of like what we've done with this club. So the similarities are there. He got to go to a lot more games than I've gotten to, so I'm a little jealous of that. But thanks for stopping by. I hope you lose tomorrow, but I hope you have a good season and can stay up. So, guys, any final thoughts on the match tomorrow? Any predictions? We are away tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. Really late match. Really hot in Spain, so they're trying to jam a weekend in at nighttime. So they've got 2 games over the next 5 days. So a lot of La Liga action coming up. So
pretty intense schedule for the afternoons here in the States. So. Yeah,
it's really cool. I got to watch the 2 games today, and both really enjoyable. So any expectations tomorrow? What do you think? Sevilla wins, of course.
I'll go with 1-0 Sevilla.
Yeah, I'll go with 1-0 as well. Trying to tamper my expectations. We had relatively easy opening matches for the last couple of years, and we've lost all of them. So hopefully we can turn that around this year.
Yeah, it'd be good to see. I'm excited. I can't wait. So with that, guys, anything else you want to chat about before we get off?
No, we'll save it for the post game, because it's a very optimistic 1-0 prediction. But if it ever goes the other way, we have the evidence of why. But it's all optimism here. However we play tomorrow, I just want to see this team playing out and where they're at in terms of their development. So all the best to the boys tomorrow.
There it is. Man, you heard it from Eddie there. Let's go, Sevilla. Vamos, mi Sevilla.
Vamos, campeón.
Y nunca queridas.